What is pericardium? Is the sac that surrounds the heart. You know that. It has got the fibrous pericardium, which is attached to the different parts of the body, and the inner sac is the serous pericardium, which is got parietal and the visceral layer. And between the parietal and the visceral layer, there is called pericardial cavity. And in the pericardial cavity, there is pericardial fluid, which is up to 50 ml normal. It is ultrafiltrated between the two layers of the serous pericardium. Now, this is the diagram which is showing the pericardial sac or space which contains the pericardial fluid. The functions of the pericardial fluid is to stabilization of the heart within the thoracic cavity. You know that. It is the protection of the heart also to the mechanical trauma and other infections. It will work as just like in your car, when it jumps, there is a shock absorber. It is a shock absorber of the heart. And the pericardial fluid also functions as lubricant between the two surfaces of the visceral pericardium, and it also prevents the excessive dilation, especially during the increased sudden rise in the intracardiac volume, acute aortic and the mitral regurgitation, for example. So it will prevent the excessive dilatation. Okay, dilatation occurs, but it will become not excessive. So in the diseases of pericardium are manifold. The acute pericarditis, it may be, or pericarditis, inflammation. We will discuss the acute pericarditis and also the recurrent or the chronic pericarditis, along with the chronic pericarditis, which is a fibrous in nature, that is known as the fibrous pericarditis, and the pericardial effusion and the tamponade, the pericardial tamponade. First of all, we do the acute pericarditis. The most common pathological process which is involving the pericardium. Its classification is manifold. It may be, it may be classified according to the duration, or it may be classified according to the etiology. It may be classified on the basis of the clinical experiences or findings, etc. Clinical classification is that acute pericarditis should be less than 6 weeks. It is more than 6 weeks, it is become chronic. It is going to be a subacute type or then chronic type. It may be fibrinous type or effusive type of pericarditis. There is serous or sanguineous. Subacute pericarditis is 6 weeks to 6 months. It may effuse constrictive, or a chronic pericarditis is more than 6 months. It may be constrictive, effusive, or adhesive, which is non-constrictive. Etiological classification is trauma, tumor, and uremia, M for myocardial infarction, acute post-medications, hydralazine can cause, or other infections, viral, bacterial, fungal, TB, or for rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune disorder, radiations, etc. can cause it. Many reasons for the pericarditis to cause, but it is not a very common disease. The clinical feature is preceded by the fever, malaise, and myalgia, and common characteristics of the pain, the registered external pain or precordial pain, with a radiation to the trapezius, the back, rich, neck, left shoulder or arm. And a special characteristic of the pericardial pain that it is more likely to be sharp, it is acute, in acute condition, very sharp pain, a stabbing type. It increases with the coughing and inspiration, and it reduces on expiration, swallowing, and is worse by the lying supine. If you supine, it will become worse. So, in cases of the congestive cardiac failure, orthopnea will worsen. Orthopnea will worsen the dyspnea. Here, worsening by lying supine. It is relieved by sitting and leaning forward. The patient becomes slightly more comfortable. The pericarditis versus the myocardial infarction is described here. In the pericarditis, there is a sharp pleuritic retrosternal pain I have already discussed. The myocardial infarction is crushing pain. It is the heavy pain, heaviness. Radiation is in cases of the pericarditis to the trapezius ridge or the lowest part of the scapula. Here myocardial infarction, pain radiates to the jaw and left arm or does not radiate. Exertion, it does not change the pain. It can increase the pain in myocardial infarction. In pericarditis, the pain works in the supine position or upon inspiration. It is not positional. Myocardial infarction is not positional pain. The onset and duration is sudden pain. It is that lasts for hours or sometimes days before the patient comes to the emergency department. But in myocardial infarction, it is sudden, a chronically worsening pain that can come and go in paroxysms, or it can last for hours before the patient decides to come to the ER. It will take time. But it is very difficult in some cases to differentiate between the acute pericarditis and the myocardial infarction. In the clinical picture, this triphasic frictional rub is pathognomonic sketching of gratting sound, evanescent, best heard in the lower part of the back, with the patient sitting and leaning forward. In the pericardial rub and between the pleural rub, there is very slight difference. Only the positional difference is there. The intensity increases in both. In pericardial rub, you put the stethoscope gradually and very calmly, it will increase. In pleural rub, you will hardly, if you will press the chest, it will become increased. Only thing is this. Otherwise, the characteristic features of both rubs are the same. Now, in case of acute pericarditis, the characteristic findings in electrocardiogram, as you learned previously, there is ST elevation, as in ACS also. But here ST elevation is seen. It is concavity upwards and the T wave is of the baseline. In 1 and 2, you see the T wave is off the baseline of the isoelectric line. These are the characteristic feature of the acute pericarditis, but it can cause the ST depression as well in some cases. And this is the characteristic feature very similar as the acute pericarditis. Here the T wave is not the baseline. It's not off the baseline. Now this is the ST elevation of the inferior wall, and there is the relevant changes seen in the V4, V5, V6. It is the case of the acute myocardial infarction of the inferior wall. This is the difference between these two ECGs. Electrocardiographic difference is only this. Otherwise they are the same. Acute pericarditis can be managed, the underlying cause, if it is known. Analgesic drugs can be given, codeine, anti-inflammatory agents like aspirin or NSAIDs or steroids are symptomatically effective. Another one is the constrictive pericarditis. One of the chronic pericarditis is constrictive pericarditis. It occurs because of the recurrence of the pericarditis. Idiopathic or viral in most of the cases. It may be post-cardiac surgery, post-radiation therapy. Connective tissue disorder can cause post-infectious tuberculosis or purulent pericarditis. This is the commonest cause in Pakistan. In commonest cause of Pakistan of the constrictive pericarditis is tuberculosis, not viral. Globally, the idiopathic or viral is the cause. Miscellaneous causes are malignancy, trauma, drug-induced asbestosis, sarcoidosis, uremic pericarditis. In the scenario which I have given, the cause was uremia. The patient actually is in uremia, and it causes the pericarditis in that scenario which was discussed previously. The pathophysiology is this: a thickened fibrotic pericardium formed the non-compliant. It is a shell around the heart. It constricts, पकड़ लेता है उसे बुरी तरीके से. Ventricles are like a fixed cavity. Encased by the thick pericardium, they cannot dilate, they cannot contract properly. This shell prevents the heart from expanding when the blood enters it. so it interferes with interventricular filling. In the respiratory variations are seen. In the expiration, the thoracic cavity becomes, narrow, and the blood comes from the pulmonary veins into the left ventricle more than the right ventricle. Normally, in the expiration, normally in the expiration, the blood flow will come more from the pulmonary veins into the ventricle, left ventricle, in the expiration. But in inspiration, the reverse occurs. There is more blood comes from the right atrium into the right ventricle. But in case of the constrictive pericarditis, reversal occurs. Then that in inspiration, more blood comes from the right atrium into the right ventricle than left. While in expiration, the more blood comes from the pulmonary veins into the left ventricle. This is how the respiratory variation occur in pericarditis, constrictive pericarditis. So if the pericardium is rigid when scald, then systemic congestion is more than the pulmonary venous congestion. Systemic is more. Hepatic congestion occurs, peripheral edema, ascites, anasarca, and cardiac cirrhosis. It will lead to cardiac cirrhosis. And it reduces the cardiac output because of it is compressing the heart. The stroke volume will become reduced. The consequence of the impaired ventricular filling causes the fatigue and muscle wasting and the weight loss. That's why, because of the low output, cardiac output. The clinical findings I already said, it is that the rigid scarred pericardium encircles the heart and systolic contraction is but normal. It is the diastolic dysfunction. So, what happened here, it reduces the stroke volume and the reduced cardiac output, which will cause hypotension, shock, and reflex tachycardia. On the other side, the venous pressure is increased. Systemic venous pressure is increased, and it will causing the JVP, jugular venous pressure, to down, and the pulmonary signs are minimal in this case. There are no pulmonary signs you will find. The hepatomegaly, their ascites is there, peripheral edema, lung vessels are clear. Their lungs are clear. Clear with the patient which is dyspneic and patient who has got the GVP, you should be raised. If you compress the hepatojugular reflux, it will not increase. You can't. You will not able to increase this pressure on hepatojugular reflux. So in the physical examination, they reduce BP, there is increased heart rate, reflex, and GVP will be raised GP, but it will not respond to the hepatojugular reflux. Ascites, edema, hepatomegaly will be there, and there is an early diastolic knocking sound can be heard after the second heart sound. It is possible because of the sudden cessation of the ventricular diastolic filling imposed by the rigid pericardial sac. It is a knock. It is called pericardial knock. And there is a sign which is called Kussmaul sign. What is Kussmaul sign? During inspiration, normally when you inspire, the heart rate increases and the systolic blood pressure decreases. In the expiration, the heart rate decreases, the systolic blood pressure increases. Now this is the normal phenomena which is called Mary's reflex. In the Kussmaul sign, in inspiration, the right ventricle volume increases without increase in the right atrial pressure. It is increased normal in inspiration. But in constrictive pericarditis, the right the ventricle volume increases as the right ventricle cannot expand due to the thickened pericardium. This results in the right atrium pressure, which causes elevated GVP in inspiration. Actually, this is not demonstrated by this method. Now, Kussmaul sign can be best demonstrated by other method, which is by taking the blood pressure. You will take the blood pressure in expirating phase, and you will take the blood pressure in inspiration phase. During inspiration, I said already the blood there is in the normal people there is fluctuation. The blood pressure will become down to 3 to 5 millimeter. In this case, the blood pressure will definitely goes much down, more than that. So this is Kussmaul sign. Diagnosis is clinical suspicion followed by confirmation with certain diagnostic tests. Many patients are initially seen for the abdominal symptoms because of the congestion, with hepatomegaly, ascites. Electrocardiogram, you will find the atrial fibrillation in 1/3 of the patients and flattened or inverted T waves in constrictive pericarditis, not in acute pericarditis. Chest X-ray will see on the lateral view there is a calcification you see on the wall. See the calcification on the wall of this of the ventricle. It is the right ventricle which is shown, and it is calcification. Echocardiography will confirm it, the pericardial thickening and septal bounce, abrupt displacement of the interventricular septum, and during the early diastole, the restrictive filling pattern. More than 25% increase in the mitral E velocity during expiration compared with the inspiration. The same thing I will say, that because of the rigid ventricle and there is inspiration and expiration, they are now not normally which is seen. It is definitely, it is paradoxical increase in the ventricles. Management is cautious diuretics and salt restriction should be done. Sinus tachycardia is a compensating mechanism, so beta blockers and the calcium channel blocker that slow the heart rate should be avoided, because it is the life for the patient. अगर आपने इसको कम कर दिया तो patient की death हो जाएगी, stroke volume भी खत्म हो जाएगा उसका. तो in patient with the atrial fibrillation with a fast ventricular rate, digoxin is recommended as an initial treatment to slow the ventricular rate before restoring the beta blockers or calcium antagonist. अगर आपको देना भी है तो बहुत लो डोज में आप दे सकते हैं, otherwise it is not. In general, the rate should not be allowed to drop to 80 to 90 per minute. रेट जितना कम करेंगे उतना स्ट्रोक वॉल्यूम कम होगा, और फिर आखिर में ज़ाहिर है कि पेशेंट स्ट्रोक वॉल्यूम बहुत मिनिमाइज हो जाएगा. डेफिनेट ट्रीटमेंट इज सर्जिकल कार्डियोटेक्टमी कर दें, सर्जिकल ट्रीटमेंट. यू रिमूव द पेरिकार्डियम by open heart surgery. Now, pericardial effusion, again the same thing, the accumulation of the fluid between the visceral and the parietal layers. 50 ml is the normal one. If it is more than 50 ml, 75 ml, 100 ml, 150 ml, it is definitely pericardial, depending upon how much it is. It is 100, 50 to 100, it is mild. It is 100 to 200, it is moderate. It is more than 300, it is definitely severe type of the pericardial effusion. It is more than 500 or more than that, it is called pericardial tamponade. It is the worsening of the pericardial effusion. It may be a serious type, transudative. You see in congestive cardiac failure or renal failure. As seen in this patient, there is no probably effusion. In a suppurative type, pyogenic infection. Any organism can cause the pericarditis. Remember, any organism, any microorganism can cause. Even parasitic organism, parasites can cause it. Fungus can cause it. So hemorrhagic occurs with any type of the pericarditis, especially with infections and malignancies, or those patients who are taking the anticoagulants, which may be possible with. Now, etiology: inflammation from the infection, immunological process, trauma causing bleeding in the pericardial space, and non-infectious conditions such as increase in the hydrostatic pressure like CCF, increase in the capillary permeability, for example, hypothyroidism, decrease in the plasma oncotic pressure, for example, in cirrhosis. Again, in cases of plasma oncotic pressure may be decreased in the severe type of the hypoalbuminemias or hypoproteinemias, decreased drainage of the pericardial fluid due to the obstruction of the thoracic duct as a result of the malignancy or the damage during surgery, because it is drained by the thoracic duct. If the thoracic duct is blocked, the fluid accumulate. The clinical features are usually asymptomatically mild to moderate, can have signs of compression. If it is moderate to severe, then dyspnea and dysphagia and hoarseness of the voice occur. Why hoarseness of the voice? Why dysphagia? Dyspnea is explained, yes. The dysphagia and hoarseness of voice occur because of the compression on the nerve, recurrent religion nerve, which causes the hoarseness of the voice. And dysphagia occurs because of the compression of the esophagus. Hiccups occurs and nausea occurs. The signs are the muffled heart sounds. In this case, there are distant heart sounds. Paradoxically, reduced intensity of the rub is gone. When the fluid occurs in the between the two layers, the pericardial rub decreases in intensity and it will go. The Award sign is a sign in which if there is a moderate to severe pericardial effusion, it will compress the lung. It will compress the lung and it will cause the atelectasis at that area. So it is described as an area of the dullness with the bronchial breath sounds there, and the bronchophony may increase in the vocal resonance below the angle of the left scapula. Ewart sign can be demonstrated. Chest X-ray will see there is an enlargement of the cardiac solute. It may 200 ml of fluid should be there. It is moderate. मिनिमल में तो कार्डियक इन्लार्जमेंट नहीं मिलेगा, मॉडरेट के अंदर मिल जाएगा. दूसरी बात यह है कि देयर इज द हाइलम ओवरले साइन. हाइलम इज नॉट विजिबल इन दिस एक्सरे. दिस इज कॉल्ड हाइलम ओवरले साइन. दैट इज व्हाई वी डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन द कार्डियोमेगाली and the pericardial effusion by hilum overlay sign. No evidence of hyla are seen in this X-ray. Electrocardiogram will be seen here. There are two important findings. One is the voltage is low, C1, 2 and 3. They are very, very small. If you add 1, 2 and 3, it is less than 10 millimeter. 15 millimeter is required. So it is low voltage. Secondly, the long lead, if you see the long lead, there is a variation in R waves. कभी छोटी जाती है, कभी ज़्यादा हो जाती है. This is called electrical alternance. Electrical alternance. So there are two findings in the pericardial effusion. Management depends on the etiology and the presence of hemodynamic compromise in the volume of the fluid. There are no role of diuretics. Now, pericardiocentesis is not always necessary. If you treat the primary cause, it may be possibility that the pericardial effusion will become reduced. The pericardiocentesis can only be done if there is a malignancy or a purulent pericarditis is suspected, or there is a hemodynamic compromise present. You will press the needle inside and take it out. The fluid will be taken out by, of course, under the ultrasound guided. The clinical features, always said there is confusion, there is agitation. Signs are called backstride. There is hypotension plus elevated JVP plus muffled heart sound. This is called backstride. And there will be a pulsus paradoxis. In the pulsus paradoxis, what happens is the inspiration, there is a drop of the systolic blood pressure of more than 10 millimeter of mercury. In the pulsus inspiration, normally during inspiration the drop is only 5. Here is more than 10. So pulsus paradox is also seen in the constrictive pericarditis and in the COPD and asthma. This pulse is specific pulse which can be demonstrated by deeply inspire. If you inspire, अगर आप करवाएं, वो जैसे मैंने पहले बताया था तो पहले उसी तरीके से इसको आप डेमोन्स्ट्रेट इसमें भी कर सकते हैं। तो दिस इज़ हाउ वी डू, हम करते हैं स्फेग्मोमेनोमेट्री के साथ कि पहले पेशेंट का जो है ब्लड प्रेशर लेते हैं एक्सपिरेशन के ऊपर, फिर इंस्पिरेशन पे आप लेके अब देखें तो ड्रॉप आएगा 10 मिलीमीटर से ज़्यादा। दिस इज़ हाउ द पल्सर पैराडॉक्सिस इज डेमोन्स्ट्रेटेड। नाउ द कार्डियक tamponade, if the fluid accumulate inside is more than 500 ml or more than that, it is accumulation of the fluid in the pericardial space causing much pressure with subsequent cardiac compression. The pericardial pressures are more than the intracardiac pressure. Now 120 मिलीमीटर होता है 110 लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल का, ये इसके अंदर जो प्रेशर होता है वो 120, 130, 140 से भी ज़्यादा हो जाता है। तो मोस्ट कॉमन कॉजेज आर मेलिग्नेंसीज, इडियोपैथिक पेरिकार्डिटिस कैन कॉज इट, रीनल फेलियर, यूरेमिया, bleeding following the cardiac surgeries and trauma and tuberculosis, and the hemopericardium. That is, there is the bleeding because of some traumatic type of chest injuries can cause it, or patient is or anticoagulants. Pathophysiology, the most critical point occurs when an infusion reduces the volume of the cardiac chambers such that the cardiac output begins to decline. इतना ज़्यादा फ्लूइड है, उतना दबा रहा है इसे कि वो उसे काम करना ही नहीं देता, ना तो राइट एट्रियम को ना लेफ्ट एट्रियम को। इसमें प्रेशर इक्वल हो जाएंगे, सारे के सारे प्रेशर इक्वल हो जाएंगे। तो राइट एट्रियम का जो प्रेशर होगा वही लेफ्ट एट्रियम का भी होगा, वही राइट वेंट्रिकल का भी होगा, वही लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल का भी होगा। तो इसको जो है ना कार्डियक कैथेटराइजेशन से आप प्रूव कर सकते हैं, mainly by impeding the right-sided filling with much of the effect on the left side of the heart due to the secondary underfilling. वो underfilling होगी, impending होगी, और उसकी वजह से फिर वही होगा इसके, ना तो वो फिलिंग होगी एट्रिया की प्रॉपर, ना वेंट्रिकल की आउटगोइंग होगी। तो कार्डियक tamponade accumulation of fluid under high pressure, pathophysiology says that it compresses the cardiac chambers and impairs the diastolic filling of both ventricles. It is a diastolic type of a dysfunction. So here what you see, the stroke volume is decreased and cardiac output decreases, and it causes hypotension, shock, reflex tachycardia. On the other side, the venous pressure will be increased and it's systemic pressure. So the JVP will definitely increase, and is fixed type of the neck veins, fixed vein होती हैं, बिल्कुल फिक्स पड़ी होती हैं, ना हिला जुला नहीं सकते आप। इसके अंदर भी जो है ना हेपेटोजिगुलर रिफ्लक्स आप डेमोन्स्ट्रेट नहीं कर सकते। दिस विल बी हेपेटोमिकली एसोसिएटेड विद एसाइटिस पेरिफेरल एडीमा, अगर ये लॉन्ग लास्टिंग है, अगर पुराना हो गया है और आदमी जिंदा रहा है। अदरवाइज इट इज़ डेफिनेटली कार्डियक इमरजेंसी। पल्सर पैराडॉक्सिस भी डेमोन्स्ट्रेट उसी तरह होगी जैसे कंस्ट्रिक्टिव पेरिकार्डिटिस, सेम वन। ड्यूरिंग इंस्पिरेशन ड्रॉप जो आप में होता है वो 5 to 10 मिलीमीटर होता है, इसमें जो ड्रॉप आता है वो 10 मिलीमीटर से भी ज़्यादा ड्रॉप आता है। जीवीपी जो है इसमें एलिवेटेड होता है लेकिन फिक्स होता है, ये मैंने आपसे आपको बताया, दिस इज अ फिक्स्ड वन। हाई वन एक जगह रुका है, वो नीचे जाता ही नहीं है। इंस्पायर कराते हैं आप तो उसको नीचे होना चाहिए था, ड्रॉप डाउन होना चाहिए था, ड्रॉप डाउन होने के बजाय ये ऊपर चला जाता है। इलेक्ट्रोकार्डियोग्राम द सेम थिंग विल बी हैपनिंग हियर, जैसे कि पेरिकार्डियल एफ्यूजन में थी कि पल्सेस अल्टरनेंस है जो आपको मिल रही है, और ईसीजी लो वोल्टेज है विद टैकीकार्डिया। इसमें टैकीकार्डिया अगर आप देखिए, साइनस टैकीकार्डिया विच इज सीन हियर। चेस्ट एक्सरे अगेन द सेम वन, जैसे मैंने पहले बताया था। लंग्स जो हैं वो ओलिगेमिक, दे आर वेरी फाइन लुकिंग लंग्स ऑल्दो ओलिगेमिक, एंड देयर इज द हाइलम ओवरले साइन, हाइलम्स आर नॉट विजिबल। Management of this condition, which is a dire medical emergency, I'll say, you should avoid diuretics, adequate preload, pericardiosynthesis is the answer. आप जो ना अगर आपने नहीं किया तो ये पेशेंट जो है ना ये रेस्पिरेटरी फेलियर में चला जाएगा, और टाइप 2 रेस्पिरेटरी फेलियर होगा, और फिर ये डेथ हो जाएगी पेशेंट। इसीलिए इसको फौरी तौर पर करते हैं, इमरजेंसी। और बाद में अगर रिकरेंट होता है तो पेरिकार्डियल विंडो विल बी मेड बाय सर्जरी और कार्डियोडेक्टमी इन सेलेक्टेड केसेस आफ्टरवर्ड्स, प्लान करके करते हैं इसको। तो ड्रेनेज ट्यूब डाल देते हैं, जिसको आपको पेरिकार्डियल विंडो बना के ड्रेनेज ट्यूब डाल दें और निकालते रहें, मुसलसल निकालते रहें। और ये कि अगर आपको इसकी प्राइमरी कॉज इफ़ यू नो, देन यू गो फॉर द ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ द प्राइमरी कॉज, do the surgery and the problem will be solved. So this is the discussion, something about the pericardial diseases. For final year students, this is enough.